Мы уже рассматривали примеры тренировок в зале для пловцов. Основная задача таких физических различных упражнений, растяжки и так далее, это как можно больше направить упражнения на то, что мы делаем специфично в воде. То есть такие движения, которые мы выполняем в воде, и мы должны переложить, спроецировать все упражнения в зале на то, как это было бы на воде. Потому что не все можно так сильно развить в воде, как, допустим, что-то можно сделать в зале, и наоборот. Мы должны максимально специфицировать все упражнения. И сегодняшняя видеопрезентация – это пример таких тренировок, которые направлены именно на проекцию в бассейне.
Hi, welcome to NC State University, home of Wolfpack Swimming. We welcome you to this dryland video that we're going to share with you today. It presents a new way, some different ways to look at training your swimmers outside of the water. Obviously, a lot of times you don't have the pool time that you want or the space that you have. You have to be creative to get your athletes to that next level. Here at NC State, we have a full season that we run with dryland. Obviously, it encounters and works with a strength program in the weight room, but it could also be used for any level of athlete, all the way to club, to high school, especially if you don't even lift weights. But what we're going to do is we're going to take you through a season progression of our dryland, let you know some of the exercises that we do within that segment, and as it goes through the season, as well as talk about the levels of work compared to rest and how that changes throughout the season. Some of these exercises are very simple, some of these exercises are very complex. So as you progress through it, you can build up as you go. Obviously, you can make changes as you go. I'd like to introduce everybody who's working with us today. First is Bobby Cantoro. Bobby is one of our assistant coaches. He's going to help implement our dryland today. He helps run our dryland and has also helped create a lot of these exercises for you. We also have 4 athletes today. We have 2 ladies and 2 men working with us today. We have Barrett Niesfeld and Matt Thomas for the men's team working with us. They're a great duo. They do a lot of this stuff together on some of the partner exercises that we have. And for the ladies, we have Zena Grog and Hannah Fryman representing the ability that this isn't just for big, strong guys. It's anybody can learn this, anybody can get better at it. But the main focus that we're going to talk about is this is great and you're becoming a better athlete, which is one of our goals, but how does it transfer to what you're doing in the water? And those are some of the things that we're going to cover today in our dryland presentation.
Такой тренировки – это как нам перенести то, что мы делаем в зале, на то, что мы делаем в воде. Упражнение на положение тела.
As we go through our season of dryland, we set it up throughout the season to mimic what we're doing in the water, also mimic what we're doing in the weight room. So everything is transferable, everything is correlated with each other. You don't want to go through a season where you're contrasting 2 different ways of training, because you're trying to keep everything in line together. You got to be careful not to overtrain the athlete. So on days that we're in the weight room, we don't really focus too much on dryland. We usually have our dryland days be on different days than our weightlifting days. Weightlifting days usually are followed by power and speed in the water, where our dryland is usually followed more by the aerobic work. The first segment after a prep phase and getting them ready to go is what we call the muscular endurance phase. Alright, so it starts off with a little bit of core work. We're going to work its way into a lot of work and less rest.
Мы
The
делаем
first couple
много
exercises we're going to
работы
show
в
are
этот
more about
период,
body
мало
control.
отдыха.
And then we'll work into the endurance part where our goal is to build the aerobic capacity at a high level, and then the heart rate is up high the entire time. This first one is called the swan.
Первое упражнение
Notice their
называется
back
лебедь.
line is straight. We talk about lines in the water. They'll come up to a point where they're creating one line from front to back, from their fingertips
Задача
to
сделать
their,
одну линию,
all the way to their
от
toes.
кончиков пальца до
This
кончиков
is the
ног.
swan. Now you can take it a step further, and you can add a dip at the top,
И
trying to hold that line.
еще усилить упражнение, если подготовились уже, можно добавить легкое
These are
приседание.
some exercises that we focus on. You can't underestimate the importance of body control. These are called just a dawn two. She comes up. The goal is to keep her line straight, back
Следующее
from her ankles all the
упражнение,
way up to her hips. And
которое
then
тоже помогает
lat leg
контролировать
lift
все
at the
тело.
top, trying to keep that line
Старайтесь
in a
удержать.
straight line. Now, it's more important that you go at a slow rate and not try to go too fast as you're trying to control your body. It takes a lot of core strength to do this. This is a dawn one. She's going to bring her foot underneath her. Down to a push up, throw that foot back up in the air. Other foot. A lot of body control.
Симметрично, очень большой контроль тела используем.
Nice to do these exercises. Getting control of your body builds that core all the way around your entire body. Trying to connect the right side, the left side, and the upper body.
Стараемся соединить правую сторону,
becoming a better
левую сторону тела.
This is another exercise working on body control. Notice she's keeping her line straight from her hips all the way up to her shoulders when she's at the tallest point. Goal is to keep that angle of your knee on the ball at right at 90 degrees.
Держать угол 90
Pressing a lot
градусов.
down into that heel, driving it down into the ball, keeping that foot up high. Good. These are called front rolls. Goal is to roll your body out in that straight line.
Перекат
You got to
по
connect the
мячу.
right and left side.
Задача держать как можно
Once you're out far enough, your
более
partner can roll your back in. Goal is to create that line from the back to the front. Keep that streamline up at the top, going in that straight line. Good core exercise. You got to flex, especially in your back, and then into your hips to make sure you keep that line straight. And back. Good. Okay, this is another, go ahead. This is another, just a good ad that we do on the plow ball about body control. Notice he's not going fast. It's about keeping a straight line, only hinging at the hips. Holding that straight line. This is a form of, we call these Rocky Balboas. And there's another one that we'll do right after this. Keeping his line. Basically, he's creating an L. He doesn't need to go down further, and he doesn't need to go past straight vertical. Just nice and slow. Good.
Не нужно сильно отпускаться
Here's
назад.
another form of the Rocky Balboas on the opposite side, doing the same thing, holding his line. Once he gets to an L, he's good, and he goes back. Not just working here, he's working on the sides and his oblique, so he's not rocking back and forth. Good, nice and controlled body movement.
Работаешь центральными мышцами живота, но и косыми.
All right, this next one that we have is called the mountain climber. Again, he's trying to keep his body in a flat line. While he brings his knees up tight, he can bring them into the side, he can bring them underneath. Different ranges of trying to keep your body in control in that flat line as you go. You can also do these on a band, just by grabbing it, adding a little bit of resistance. Not only is it taxing his upper part of his leg, but it's also taxing the rest of his body, trying to keep his body still. Another version of mountain climber, bringing a foot in and underneath and crossing over, helps connect that right and left side. Notice she has her feet flat on the ball. If you want to get more advanced, you can raise up to your toes.
Если вы хотите более
It's a little bit harder holding that ball still.
носочках
You want the
держать
ball
ноги.
being still. Obviously, you want your body being still and only rotating when you need
Задача
to.
удержать мяч на одном месте. и
These we
тело.
call detox. Bringing the ball in underneath. Notice that she's trying to be pretty firm here and tighten her core underneath to bring that ball
Держать как
in.
можно крепкую спину, живот.
Very slow, methodical movements, being stationary with the upper body. That's where she's really tight right here as she brings the ball up. Good.
Когда подтягиваете мяч.
Here it's another drill on tightening the core. Has both feet a little bit on the sides of the ball. and he's rotating his body from side to side, but keeping his shoulders square to the ground. Really builds up that core strength on the sides, more in the oblique and the side area. Really good drill for a lot of freestylers and backstrokers.
Задней поверхности спины, которая задействуем при поворотах, кроле на спине.
Here's the same exercise, working the upper part of the body. We usually do these together at the same time, doing one, then doing the other. Notice her feet are spread to give her a good base in the back. Pressuring, and she's keeping her whole spine in line together as she rotates. She's not overdoing it. She's doing it to where her spine stays intact in a straight line.
Так, чтобы не упасть, задерживает эта мышца.
Notice she rotates. Base is adding that support. She's really tight on the inside, especially as she comes around. Now, as you get more advanced, you end up tilting a little bit further. Just got to make sure you got a good grab on that ball, and the ball is good and dry. Good. Here she goes, as you can see, shoulders staying square on that ball, tilting back and forth. Really right here is where you feel it, all up underneath, and then on the inside, underneath the ball. Good. This is a form of a plank. Notice his body is in a straight line. His goal is from his hips to his shoulders to stay in that straight line, not using his arms to pull up. Really just here. This is where you get more advanced. You can move that ball out.
Форма streamlined.
Nice, just rolling on the ball. Takes all this core here to go up and down. It's a good slow movement, a lot of body control. And as you go, as you notice, he's moved that ball out. As he gets more, if you get more advanced, you can move that ball even further out. So it's less area, surface area on the ball, taxing that core even more. Okay, this is a fly roll. Notice her hands are in that catch position as a lot of strokes. She's going down, she's keeping her hips all in her spine up to her neck in a flat line. Going down, and then using her core underneath to bring it back up. Now, as you get more advanced, you can go without your knees and move it all the way back up to where it's just your toes and upper body on the ball.
Если вы укрепились, можете с колени встать на носочки, выполнять это упражнение.
A lot of body control, flat line from his top of his shoulders all the way down to his feet.
В одну линию спина, ноги.
Good. This is another plank drill, another body position drill. Nice and slow. He's trying to keep his shoulders square to the ground as well as his hips. You just do this with a partner or a wall and just come up and tap. Just try not to move that body. Notice his arms when he goes down are straight down, perpendicular to the wall or to the floor. This is another plank one. She's coming up, she's tapping her thighs. It's the same concept. Every time she lifts the leg, every time she goes back to touch, she's trying to keep her hips square and her shoulders square. Just a cycle through, right, left, right arm, left arm. Cycle through, trying to keep that body still and line straight. More left. Good. This one again, a lot of core body tightening up, especially trying to keep that body still.
Задняя планка.
As soon as you lift that leg, it's really hard. You got to plant that foot into the ground, and you're just coming up to create a straight line, and keeping that line all the way through the top. Again, you got to do these exercises in a slow manner. You can't go fast to it, or your body's going to shake. You get what you need out of it, and then make sure you hold it at the tight points. Good. Next one, we take that same exercise, we go a little bit further up. Notice there's a right angle. She comes up, she holds it. The higher you go, it gets a little bit harder. Coming up, make sure you hold at the top. That line stays straight all the way through this resting knee. Come up to a right angle. Good. Here again, talking about lines. Needs to have it, so a straight line all the way through, all the way down through your hips. Coming up. Hold that leg straight line. As you go, just want to make sure you point those toes out.
Когда делаешь, старайся тянуться носками назад.
Good. Here it's about lines. This is one of the hardest ones we do. Basically arm flutter kicks, trying to hold those lines straight through your legs. Keep your line all the way through at 45 degrees. Notice his head is in line with your spine. Nice and slow, straight lines.
Упражнение с видицем положения.
Next thing in the segment of our dryland phase, as we go to the peak of our muscular endurance, we do a lot of med ball work. This is the time of year where our work ratio to rest is very, it keeps building. So you're going to be working a lot longer than how much rest you're going to get. Notice they're on a check. Next thing in the segment of our dryland phase, as we go to the peak of our muscular endurance, we do a lot of med ball work. This is the time of year where our work ratio to rest is very, it keeps building. So you're going to be working a lot longer than how much rest you're going to get. Notice they're on a chest pass.
Тяжелые мячи.
The whole cycle that we go through this, we can even go down to a squat, where they're focusing on keeping their line of trajectory the same and keeping their upbeat. Or we can bring them back up. We can add a little body position. One leg at a time. Notice her body is flat. Her body is flat. They're not looking for power. They're looking for speed and just good straight line.
Старайтесь сделать это мощно, сильно, старайтесь делать быстро.
Back and forth. And what we usually have them do is keep their arms up, even when they're not throwing, because that's still going to tax them. That's not a recovery phase. Okay? And we'll go up to 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes at a time before they get a break. So now we'll have them go down. We'll have them face each other. We call this the chair position. We do a lot in this position. Their feet are up. They're slanted a little bit back. And we'll go through the same thing. You can even do different forms of this. So you can throw it up above your partner's head. They bring it down, then throw it. Ideally, if you catch it above your head, it's tough. You've got to engage your core so you're not falling backwards. Or you can go back to a regular chest pass and go with a flutter kick. You hold that line straight. Obviously, a little bit harder. It takes a little bit more strength to throw it. So we don't hold this position quite as long. This is another form of using our med ball. Notice, you can do the chest pass. You can keep doing it, but there's different ways you can mix it up. She's engaging her core to catch it up high, and she twists into a right and a left. Just a basic Russian twist. She's not bouncing the ball. She's stopping in the middle before it touches. And then she's going back up, and then back to her press. So she's getting a little bit more shoulder work into it as well, besides her abs. As you do this, your hip flexors start to burn a little bit, so you're really using a lot of your body. Good. Again, a lot of these med ball we do earlier in the season. We start this med ball, if you break the season down to 4 segments, we usually do it in the first and the second, when we're talking about working for an extended period of time before we rest. As we go through the season and it gets progressed more and that rest comes up, we're trying to create faster passes and then more rest. So this is just a basic oblique exercise. She's using her core to start the motion, so she's actually not really using her arms except to guide the ball. So she's starting the throw from her left side, Zena's starting hers from her right side, and guiding the ball, so you're trying to throw it to your partner right where they can catch it into their, going to the side, so you're stopping the momentum with that right side and starting with the left side. Good exercise, and connecting the right and left side. Good. A lot of these exercises you can do where one person is doing the work, or you can do it to where they're actually both laying down and throwing it to each other. A little bit easier to manage when one person's up, one person's down. She's trying to throw that ball with her core, not so much her arms, but starting the moment or the movement from her core. Hannah's job is to throw that ball with some intensity right over her head and lead her into the next sit-up. So these are tough. We usually do these up to about 2 to 3 minutes. You can even do it while you're on a plyo ball. So these get pretty tough, especially when you do it for a long period of time. Good. This is just a pro chest pass. You start with his legs up. You can start with your leg down. You can start with your leg spread. You can start doing it with a flutter kick. It's really just about tempo and rhythm, and over a period of time, obviously it builds up. But one of the goals is to take his core and to press it down into the floor. And he's keeping that line straight. So once you add a flutter kick, so this straight lines with a flutter kick, notice he just keeps going. And his partner doesn't allow the ball to go up. Now his goal is to get it through his partner's hands, but he's not letting it, so you're looking for repetition. You just kind of keep going it. And obviously you can do this up to a longer period of time because it's pretty sustainable. Now relax your legs, but keep going on the ground. Obviously if you go with your legs relaxed, you could probably go for a good period of time. It works the upper part of your shoulders. Obviously, if you're pressing your core to the ground, even you have to ignite a little bit that core to catch it. A lot of times when you go through these dryland exercises, especially if you're thinking about the work to rest ratio, it's a lot easier to go off of time. So we usually don't go off certain repetitions like 30 or 40 or 50. We're going off 20 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute and a half. So you can better gauge throughout the season of where you are and where you need to go. So you're not overworking the athlete and getting to a point where their muscle fatigue gets to a point where they can't perform in the water, out of the water. So on this exercise right now, his goal is to Bear's going to keep moving up. His goal is to keep his back in the same spot. Obviously the force of Bear's throws are coming quicker and harder, so he's trying to hold that one spot. Good. All right, one thing that we've been doing a little bit more this year is trying to keep building the strength of our core. We really only do it in the muscular endurance phase. We don't really do it too much past that, as it is really taxing on the upper body and the core. We do it. One thing that we've been doing a little bit more this year is trying to keep building the strength of our core. We really only do it in the muscular endurance phase. We don't really do it too much past that, as it is really taxing on the upper body and the core. We do add a little bit of speed to it later in the season, but not very much. But all you need is just basic small boxing gloves. There's different sizes for the size of your hand and your weight. And obviously they have the mitt. But what's very important is when you have this with your partner, is that this is the target point. This is where she's aiming each time. So as you go through it, you got to make sure that you have your target point set up so she's not moving her body a whole lot. We don't do crazy amounts of exercises. We do a couple of basic ones. The big one is all about the core. The one thing will do is just put up her arms even with her shoulders so it's a straight across. She's going to rotate her core side to side without punching through. Her goal is not to punch like a punch. She's keeping it steady the whole way, and she's only rotating her core. So her arms stay the same. And as you start, all you're trying to do is just get a pattern going and move your core. You're not really trying to overdo it. Obviously, as you get going, the power increases by how fast you're trying to rotate the core. Notice down here, her speed and power is dictated by this, not her arms. Here's a view from the side. And again, you're not trying to overhit it. You got to be careful in keeping your wrists flat as you go through it. You don't want to have them bent up or down. You can get injured. So we take our time in a season learning this. But notice her rotation here, just back and forth. Her feet a little bit wider than shoulder width, and they're not moving. So she's not going up on her toes. It's all in her hips, all in her
Они
core.
не вращаются на
Very good
пальцах, все
exercise.
движение от корпуса идет.
A lot of times when you go, if you're going to try this out, you got to go through a prep phase where you kind of make sure you get the technique down before you progress on with time limit and trying to add power. My suggestion is before you start, make sure you have that technique down and start in small work to rest ratio. So work for 10 seconds, rest for 30, rest for 20, then maybe work it up to 20 seconds and 20, and then obviously you can work your way up to where they're holding that boxing routine for up to a minute, minute and a half potentially. This one is not so much core, it's about your trunk. Trying to get a little bit more endurance, repeating the motion with your trunk. Partner will hold the mitt to where you can hit up into it. Notice he's generating the power in his legs. It's basically a bunch of squats. And if you do this for a period of time, it's going to get really tiring on your hips. So this gives you an idea of how you're doing it. So he's going up, and his goal is to stand up through the target. So if the target's low, he's driving those hips up, driving those quads up through the target. Now, you can combine these two. All right, combine these two so you can go 2 core movements, 2 trunk movements.
Соединяем два упражнения.
This is a little bit more about timing. 2 across, 2 up. Your partner's got to make sure you get him a landing zone.
Два снизу вверх.
What's very important about a lot of this boxing is that you don't overdo it. When we do it, we usually do 1 big day and 1 smaller day in a week. So that gives you an idea that we're not doing it 3 times a week, we're not doing it 4 times a week. We really do 1 big time where it takes a while as you build up to it. Make sure you start with technique. We go up to potentially an hour, and then the small day is a little bit more about 30 minutes.
Маленький день делаем, не больше 30 минут таких упражнений, и один большой день, на скорость работы, там 40-60 минут.
Okay, so we start the season off with our muscular endurance phase, then we build into the strength phase. At this phase, you're going to see a lot of the rest start to build up as you go through this part of the segment. You're going to see the type of movements being a little bit. Okay, so we start the season off with our muscular endurance phase, then we build into the strength phase. At this phase, you're going to see a lot of the rest start to build up as you go through this part of the segment. You're going to see the type of movements being a little bit more geared towards pure strength. Obviously, as you can see on the chart that you'll see on your screen, that the muscular endurance phase doesn't go away. It's almost an overlapping of phases as we head into the strength phase. One big thing that we start in the strength phase is pull-ups. We are a big believer in what pull-ups and the transfer of the power that you need to do a pull-up is very closely related to almost all the swim strokes in the water. So we go through a phase where we start a season progression of pull-ups that build their way up, and then they also work their way back down when we get to the next phase of power and speed. That we'll work your way up, and you can do these as far as group sets of 5 or 3 or 10, or maxing out as much as you can. And there's also a variety of ways of how you can do pull-ups. You can also do these assisted, as in you're still getting the same thing out of it. And the goal is trying to transfer off the energy, especially in your back muscles, to what you're doing in the water. So here are a couple of types of pull-ups that they're going to do for you. It's just we'll do 2 of the first ones. Go ahead. These are just arms right around shoulder width apart. Again, nothing special, just basic positioning of the hands. Then we'll move our hands out a little bit. We're doing a wide grip pull-up. Notice how far they are apart. Angle where it works on your back is a little bit different. Obviously now we're going into a close grip pull-up where you put your hands basically side by side. Go a little bit closer. There you go. There you go. Good. Last one's a little bit of working your right side and your left side. We just call it the corn cob. You'll go up in one spot, you'll rotate to the other, you can go down, you can go back up, and rotate over, and we call it that just because it's obviously like eating a corn cob. Notice they kind of pop up,
Провести плечи по линии турника.
and they're shifting across that bar. Good. All right, next type of pull-ups we do to mix it up, and again, we do this throughout the season. Obviously, you know, we talk about mentally engaging the athlete. This is a different way to get them stronger. Well, these are pull-ups when you're going up and using your trunk and rotating up. So we'll do one pull-up where they're going to bring up. As they come up, they're going to rotate their core up and twist into a ball. Then we'll do a few where they come up and twist to the side, working the obliques while they're in a pull-up position. Two straight up, rotate up. And obviously you can build as you do this. You can do this with assistance, but it's a way of kind of adding some abs and some pull-ups at the same time. Now they'll come up, they'll rotate up and twist. You can do one each way and alternate them. Good. Good. All right, and those are our pull-ups. And again, we'll take them through a season. We'll build their number up. We'll get some max out numbers so we can monitor them, and then we'll bring it back down. And then that'll lead us into the last bit of our pull-ups at the end of the year, where it's more about speed. After we head from the strength and the power phase, we start working our way into speed. This is where we start doing this type of work towards the end of the season to correlate with what we're doing in the weight room and in the water, which is a lot of hand speed, foot speed, a lot of fast swimming, a lot of explosive work in the weight room. So we want to...
Фаза развития скорости, как правило, в конце сезона или перед соревнованиями.
After we head from the strength and the power phase, we start working our way into speed. This is where we start doing this type of work towards the end of the season to correlate with what we're doing in the weight room and in the water, which is a lot of hand speed, foot speed, a lot of fast swimming, a lot of explosive work in the weight room. So we want to keep it all on the same line, make sure we're progressing and they're correlating together. We're going to go back to the boxing techniques that we did earlier, but a couple different exercises, and this is all about quickness. You're not really trying to overdo the power, you're trying to do it more like quickness. Notice when he does this position, he's got his feet spread out, base, nice core. He's not going to lean over, he's not going to lean back, he's going to keep his body in the line. And his goal is to basically come around and slap the mitt. All right, obviously he wants to add a little power to it, but he's going for speed and quickness. Hips will rotate for every time. Good. We only do those for about 10 to 20 seconds as that gets very tough. And obviously the goal is, at this time of the year, our work is down here and our rest is here. So you're getting a lot of rest. The goal a lot of times is we go for numbers as how fast can you hit that mitt in 10 seconds, and you count, and your goal is trying to get 30 or 40, for example. So it's a lot of speed. This next one is basically the same thing, except you're going the other way. Again, good strong base, back to straight. This time you're coming up. Again, we're going to go small amounts of time, going for quickness. Notice how she keeps that body in line as she's going fast. Good. We call this just the Harlem Globetrotter. This is an exercise that you can also do earlier in the season, but at the end of the year, we do it a lot for quickness. And obviously the main goal is to pass the ball back and forth on your legs. A lot of it depends on you being able to spread your legs up and down really fast so you can move the ball faster. So it starts with your legs first. Good. Here's another angle of side of how fast, how much he's moving his legs up and down to get that ball fast between his two legs. A lot of engaging in the core, holding that position and being able to do it at a fast rate. Good. As we head into the last bit of our season and we're focused on hand speed and foot speed, we do a couple of kicking drills on a plyo ball where she's engaging her core, she'll get up in a plank position and she's trying to do full flutter kicks, kicking through on the plyo ball. Obviously, you need a partner that's going to have to hold it pretty tight. So her goal is to keep her core engaged, her hips square, and she's kicking as fast as she can. Now, we usually do this for a short period of time, of course, trying to get as fast foot speed as you can. Ready, go. Notice how she's tight here. She's not wobbling a whole lot. She's kicking that ball as hard as she can. And stop. Another way to do this is if you turn upside down and you kick up. So usually the partner gets up over the ball. You put your hands underneath your hips, provide some stability, and our goal is to kick up really hard. Now you gotta be careful, you don't want to kick the ground, so the partner may have to lift the ball a little bit. Same concept, really fast, really hard. Ready, go. Really engaged here in the core, all the way through her quads, trying to kick that ball really hard. Stop. Now this next one is one more with hand speed. We kind of started the foot speed on the plyo ball. This is one you can do with a partner with the ball above your head. And it's really just slapping the ball straight above your head. But you got to engage your core so you're not having to curve back, and you got to be tight in order to keep that core tight while you're slapping the ball really hard. So it's a good full body, mainly from your hips all the way up. Again, short amount of time. Ready, go. Stop. And then, as we even get closer, we can do this exercise even up to the day of your racing. A lot of hand speed drills. And what you're doing is we just call it the high five. You take turns of who initiates the contact. Again, you got to have a good base. Got to keep your body line straight line. And you're basically high-fiving, alternating your hands one at a time. Again, short amount of time. Ready, go. Notice how he's tightening his core up here, and he's flat. And everything's going as fast as he can. Stop. Good. Another good hand speed drill, we just call it the kickboard drill. We do this a lot, transferring, doing it on the pool deck, then hopping up, hitting about a 12-yard blast, 10-yard blast, even up to a 25 blast, trying to mimic that hand speed, transferring it to the pool. All he's going to do is he's going to create his base, he's going to keep his back straight, and basically for a short amount of time, he's going to hit that board. Again, you can do this anywhere. You do it on the block as fast as you can. Now, he's got to engage his whole body to be able to duplicate fast hits as fast as he can go. Let me step away real quick.
Вовлечь все тело, чтобы сделать как можно более быстрые удары.
Stop. Here's another angle of it going front on. You can kind of see his shoulders stay square. And you can see in his body how much he's igniting all of his muscles in his core to be able to hit that board really hard. Ready? Go. Stop. A lot of times at the end of the year, age groupers, high schoolers, they like to go through, a lot of reaction drills. So this is, you can do the fast hands, closing your eyes, but one that we use a good bit. You put your hands in different parts, different levels. And the goal is to basically go a 3 count, but you can't do the 3rd count until you've completed the 2nd one, so it takes a little concentration. Again, you got to keep your body still and get ready. You're ready to slap them as hard as you can without moving your body. Notice how one hand, right in front, you got to give her a landing zone. So she's going to come across top, bottom, and before she can hit the 3rd one again, her left hand needs to be back by her side. Go. Go.
Нужно вернуть руки, успеть опять по бокам.
Alright, obviously a lot of you may not have access to a weight room, and it's where you're working more of your power part. The power work outside the pool. So here are a couple exercises to help with your start work. And what Zena's going to do here is obviously this is, you can use it.
Стартовой позиции.
All right, obviously a lot of you may not have access to a weight room, and to where you're working more of your power part, your power work outside the pool. So here are a couple exercises to help with your start work. And what Zina's going to do here is obviously this is you can use it any height. You don't want to have where your hips are lower than your knees. So at best it's 90 degrees at the lowest point. So this is a good start from her because it simulates her having her hips up higher on a block. What she's going to do is she's going to keep her back straight, and you can do a little bit of reaction with this. It'll start her, and what she's going to do is she's going to explode up to a streamline. Okay, and when she does, she's going to be pressing down mainly from her trunk all the way down through her feet. She's going to ignite with that upper body up, start to simulate using that body, get your motion going forward. So this is a good explosive, powerful drill. This is something you want to do on lots of reps. You don't want to go through it and do like 100 of them. This is something where you're starting to combine and you're simulating a start. Should be here. Take your mark. Go. Good. Do it again. Notice she goes up. She's not going forward. Her goal is just to go straight up. Both feet, powerful position, driving from her trunk all the way down. Take your mark. Go.
Нижней части корпуса вниз к ногам.
Back flat. Notice she'll be going straight up.
Спина
ровная.
Mark.
Go. Take your mark. Go. Good. Here's another drill that's a great drill, especially if you're working towards a track start. You have your lead foot. You really want to do this more with your lead foot. Matt's lead foot is the right foot. Again, it's going to set himself up in a straight line. Not going to lean forward because you don't want to be jumping forward. You want to be jumping up. He's going to use his upper body to help create the starting motion. And he's going to be pressing with his hips and let the energy travel through his legs. He's going to basically explode up. Again, you want to do this, lots of rest, better to use it off a reaction, so you're putting all the pieces together. Take your mark. Go. Again, you don't want to use that bottom foot at all. This is a front foot drill.
Вы не должны использовать заднюю ногу, а только переднюю в этом упражнении.
Take your mark. Go. All right, let's do it. His goal is to explode up as high as you can in that straight line. You want to keep that back straight so you're going straight up and you're not going to get off track and fall over the block frontwards or to the right or something. Take your mark. Go. Good. Here's another one straight up. Take your mark. Go. Good. This is another track start drill that's focused a little bit more on that back leg, especially if you're at a location where there's a back wedge. You want those hips up. You really want to drive off that back leg, off that wedge. Or even if it's just without a wedge and you want to make sure you have equal power coming from both legs. You want to put more of your back leg at the start on the ground, lift the other one up, a couple inches off the ground. Again, his back straight, he's going to explode up on a reaction. Take your mark. Go. Obviously, you're not going to get as high because you only have one leg. But you're working on pressing. Transfer that energy from the back of the hips all the way down through your leg. Take your mark. Go.
Передаем энергию с верхней части бедра к низу ноги. Имитируем толкание задней ногой.
Go. Good. Take your mark. Go. Here's a drill that we use working on flip turns. Obviously, you're going into a turn really fast and you're driving those legs over and you want to get off that wall quick. You're not going to have time to go all the way down and sink down and explode all the way up. You got to be quick and bounce off that wall. So what she's going to do is she's just going to lightly step off this block as if she's coming in from a flip turn, and her feet are going to land as if they're placing on that wall or on that bulkhead, and she's got to bounce up. You're not going to get as much flexion in your legs. So the goal is to create as much power you can, simulating where you're going to be.